Hello, hello. Hi, y'all. We're not getting started quite yet. Just wanted to give y'all like a 5-minute warning. Gonna give folks some time to like still get in, get situated. We do have donuts and coffee and some water over there if anyone would like some. So please feel free to get it. And we'll get started in about 5 minutes. Thanks, y'all. Okay. Hello, hello. Hi, folks. Good morning. Can everybody hear me okay? All right. If you're new to North Star, we are pretty casual, so I'm going to just sit right here, if that's cool with y'all, instead of standing. But welcome, y'all. Welcome to North Star. Thank you for coming to Sunday service. My name is Danny Calhoun. I use they, them, and she, her pronouns. I am the operations director here at North Star. And today we are going to be talking about Reverend Dr. Pauli Murray. So quick show of hands. Yes. Cheers. Cheers. Yeah. Yeah. So we just want to take a minute to welcome y'all to the space. We're going to get everybody acclimated to the space, hopefully. But quick raise of hands. Who has not been to Sunday service at North Star before? Raise your hand. Okay. Welcome. Thanks, y'all. Thank you so much for being here. So if you're new to North Star, this is North Star Church of the Arts. We are a sanctuary for marginalized creatives and those who bear witness. And we are housed in a church that was originally built for a disabled population here in the 30s, I believe, and is now no longer consecrated, but it was an Episcopalian church. So that's just a little bit of the history of the space that we're in. But I want to also let folks know we have some kiddos here. North Star Sunday Service offers Sunday school. So we have Miss Chelsea in the back with the Rainbow Collective for Change. Hi. So in a little bit here, if there's any kiddos that want to go to Sunday service, Sunday school, we invite any folks, kids age 5 up, or if you're with a parent, then kids of all ages can attend Sunday school. So Miss Chelsea will be in the back, and we will be, let's see, are there any other kiddos that would like to do Sunday school? Looks like y'all are heading out. Okay, thanks, friends. And they will be back joining us in a little bit. But to get us started, just giving y'all a brief overview for the day, we're going to, like I said, talk about Reverend Dr. Pauli Murray, the theologian, legal visionary, poet, a prophetic voice for human rights. This is also their birthday month. So we have the Pauli Murray Center here with us as well. So we will be doing a little bit of joint facilitation for y'all here today. And we want to really take time to reflect on their work, on bringing forward our own personal courage. We want to get into our imagination today. And in a second, we're going to talk a little bit about the Pauli Murray activist framework. But before that, I want to get us grounded in the space, in your bodies, in your mind. And so we're going to do a little bit of grounding, some breath work, a little stretching. So I want to invite everybody to get comfortable in your chair. Also, feel free to stand if that's more comfortable for you. Put your feet about hip-width apart, flat on the ground. Maybe you roll your shoulders back. Roll them back. Maybe you roll them forward. And we're going to take 3 big, deep breaths all together. Keep moving how you need to, but breathe it in. And breathe it out. And a big breath in and out. One more big one in and out. And if your eyes are not closed, I'd invite you to close them. You can soften your gaze, whatever you feel comfortable with. And we're going to take another big, deep breath, but this time you're going to bring your arms up over your head with you. So breathe it in. And you can put your palms together and exhale them down to the center. You're going to do that. Do 3 more of those, but this time on your own breath. So breathe in and just bring them down through center on your own breath. Once you've done 3 of these, with your own breath. I'll invite you to just hold your hands at heart center. When I see us all there, I'll go ahead and get us started. Okay. So now I'll invite you to take your right ear and just put it towards your right shoulder. Just a little stretch of the neck. Breathe into that. And inhale back to a neutral spine. Exhale over with the other ear to the other side. And do that 1 or 2 more times, giving your neck some love, breathing into any areas you have tension. Maybe you want to do a little bit of a shoulder with it. Maybe you want to roll your head, do little half circles. Maybe you want to look side to side. Just breathing into that neck and head space. When you feel like you've given your neck a little bit of love, we'll do a couple shoulder rolls back. Let's do 3 rolls back. Big, juicy shoulder rolls back. And then we can do 3 forward. Okay, next we're gonna get a little grounded, a little closer to our center. So I'm gonna invite y'all to do another big breath where you bring your arms up. And this time when you exhale, you're going to fold forward, whatever that looks like and is comfortable for you. So if that's folding forward, fully touching the ground, you can do that. If you just wanna put your hands in your lap, you can do that. If you wanna rest on the chair in front of you, whatever feels comfortable to your body. And while you're down here, just think about grounding yourself, feeling the earth and the seat beneath you, feeling yourself being held up. And exhale out while you're down there. And then you're going to inhale back up. You can bring those arms with you if you'd like. You can exhale those back down. And while your eyes are still closed, I'm going to invite folks to just put either their whole hand, their finger, whatever feels comfortable, just to your forehead. Maybe you rub it around a little bit, warm up that area. And I want y'all to just think about connecting with yourself, with your spirit, with your mission, with what you are bringing into this space today that no one else could bring, because it is yours. And maybe think about what you're hoping to leave with today. And exhale that hand back down. And feel free to open your eyes now if you'd like. Maybe you look around the room, make a little eye contact, say hi to your neighbor, welcome the other energy in this space. And to end it out, we're gonna just connect to our voice a little bit. We're gonna warm up those vocal cords. So I'm gonna invite us to do 3 big deep breaths all together. But on the exhale this time, you're gonna give it sound. So you'll inhale it in. Exhale it out with a sigh. One more inhale in. Another big sigh. And this will be our last one. Let it be the loudest one. Inhale in. Thank you all so much for taking a moment to be in your bodies, to reconnect, to give your body a little bit of love. I hope that y'all will remember to take a little bit of this breath, of this practice with you, that you can always reconnect to self, reconnect to spirit with just a couple of deep breaths and a couple of loving touches and movements in the body. So now, hopefully folks are feeling settled. Hopefully folks feel connected to self and spirit. So I'm going to kick it over to our friends at the Pauli Murray Center. I'm going to invite their executive director, Angela, up. And we will learn a little bit more, hear some history, some bio, some information about Dr. Pauli Murray. Thank y'all so much. The sweetest. But thank y'all for taking some time to breathe with me, to breathe with yourselves. And I'll turn it over to you.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Danny. Friends, it is an honor to be with you today. My name is Angela Thorpe Mason, and I have the pleasure of serving as the chief steward of Pauli Murray's childhood home and the executive director of the Pauli Murray Center for History and Social Justice. Some of you all have had the great fortune of meeting the executive director, Jamie Michelle Mason, who's seated here up front with dear sister Michelle Lanier. At the Pauli Murray Center for History and Social Justice, we uplift the life and legacy of the Reverend Dr. Pauli Murray to address enduring inequities and injustices. That's a big mission. What does that mean? What does that mean practically and concretely? What has that meant in an era where we've navigated different versions of oppression? What does that mean for today when we are navigating an era of what feels like and what is swift and violent oppression? What will that mean as we think about a future that will still likely be oppressive? We're not done, right? Our work is not done. I think what we strive to do at the Pauli Murray Center is to make Reverend Dr. Pauli Murray more human, okay? We have a bad habit of deifying, especially Black historical figures, right? And it creates a barrier between us and between them. What if we considered Reverend Dr. Pauli Murray as somebody who is just like you and me, okay? An everyday person who did remarkable things. Not a remarkable person, but an everyday person who did remarkable things and was steadfast in their mission, who committed to doing a lifetime of social justice work that took different shapes, that took different forms. I think this reframing creates a bridge between us and Murray and helps us to consider the reality that maybe we're not so different than Murray. And maybe we too have the ability to access some of Murray's tools to move contemporary social justice work forward in our societies today. And so today we'll be walking through an exercise that guides us around how we today can access Murray's tools. I'm going to ground us further. I think it's really important as we're exploring Murray, as we're considering their work, to guide ourselves in their words, to ground ourselves in their words and in their values. And so I've got a Murray poem that I'll be reading. I'm a historian by training, and so I'll offer a bit of historical context. This poem was written by Murray in 1939. A lot was happening in the 30s. Do we have any historians in the room? What's some of the things that was going on in the 30s? Anybody? Depression. It's a really, really challenging time in our society. Certainly the Great Depression. There was a lot of global conflict happening. This is about the time where Murray was living in New York City amongst artists and activists and a number of people in Harlem, kind of at the end of the Harlem Renaissance, if you will. We're at a turning point. And Murray is doing a lot of exploring. At this point in Murray's life, They say their activist consciousness is developing, particularly as civil rights activists. They had moved from labor organizing into civil rights activism. They're understanding that the issues of poor people and Black people are inextricably linked, right? And so they're exploring, how can I do this from a legal framework? This is also the time in Pauli's life when they begin actively exploring gender-affirming care, okay, with the support of Black women doctors in New York City. And Pauli is wrestling deeply with, what does it mean to exist as a Black, we would say today, gender nonconforming artist and creative person that's concerned with the dignity, especially of Black people in an oppressive society, okay? And so here is Murray's To the Oppressors. Now you are strong, and we are but grapes aching with ripeness. Crush us. Squeeze from us all the brave life contained in these full skins. But ours is a subtle strength, potent with centuries of yearning, of being kegged and shut away in dark, forgotten places. We shall endure to steal your senses in that lonely twilight of your winter's grief. Again, that is Pauli Murray, To the Oppressors, written in 1939. And so today, we are going to walk through an exercise that I think will guide us around how do we respond to our own oppressors and oppression today in this moment. What does it look like to do social justice work in an era like this? You'll notice that as I guided you, I didn't talk you through what Pauli Murray did, okay? They did so much with their life. I think the key point is thinking about, how did Pauli do their work over the course of a lifetime, 74 years of life. And so today, I'm going to invite Reverend Chelsea to guide us in an exercise to explore, how can Pauli teach us how we should approach our work today in our own oppressive society. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Reverend Chelsea. Yeah.
I like the sitting down. Good morning, everyone. This is cozy. You always get to be cozy when you speak, so I loved it. Beloveds, one of the ways that we honor leaders and humanize, to Angela's point, those that have gone before us, is by treating their work not as something just to be described, but as methodology that we actually can learn from. Oftentimes, especially for Black folks, the work that was done is, it was so particular to them. It can never be replicated. It can never be seen as a framework. But actually, there was strategy and frames and methods that allow for us to learn and breathe and continue their legacy, not just in the stories we tell, but in the actions that we live. And so today, my hope is that we're gonna move through Pauli's activist framework in the three parts that it was. First, it was mission, then action, and then values. Their mission was clear. Their mission was to upend segregation and racism. Their actions, while many, were persuasion, advocating, appealing to those in power, spiritual resistance by practicing their faith in a myriad of ways, the power of the pen, writing and writing relentlessly to make sure that things were documented and that, it's important to tell your own story so that others can't manipulate that thing. And also protest and direct action, right? Those are some of the many actions that Pauli took. And then values, those things that actually ground you beneath the actions, that anchor you. My grandmother loves to say, you live from the values you have, not the values you want, right? And so actually thinking about, what are the values that guide and grip me to do this thing that I want to do? And so For Pauli, some of their values was being in community and leveraging interdependence and actually believing that this interdependence in community was something that could move us forward to a place that might have seemed impossible, right, in their time. Compassion, hope, and patience. And again, I'm sure many others. Now, I know I moved through that really quickly because while that was their specificity, our hope is to move through their frame into your specificity. So if you haven't learned your neighbor's name yet, you will in just a second. Love that for us. Because it's important also, I think, that when we're talking about mission and action and values, that we're not trying to do it in so solo that we don't think that the community realities are important, or that we keep it so internal that no one else knows, right? The thing that is moving us, the thing that we're hoping to do, when actually communal accountability is what can help us move forward. And I would not be surprised as if your mission connects to someone else's mission, such that our actions might move together. So I'm gonna ask you to play in the sandbox a little bit for me. And actually talk to each other and move a little bit if you feel like you can. And if nothing else, I think at the baseline that we're honest. I think if we can start from a place of truth together about what's actually coming up for us, then hopefully we'll leave with something. Perhaps it's an answer, perhaps it's just a better question about how we might want to move in this world that I think is desperately looking for folks that can imagine something otherwise, that can believe enough to take a step towards something that looks better than what we're experiencing today. All right? Okay, there's one or two. Where two or more are gathered, that's all I need. Now, I know that we've already grounded ourselves, and I'm so grateful, Danny, thank you for that grounding, and also Angela for the words of Pauli, calling in Pauline unconditional love into this space. And so I'm going to continue in that. For some of us, meditation works best when we're still. For others of us, it works best when we're moving. And so there's space over here, there's space behind me. If you are moving, I invite you not to close your eyes, but to maybe just soften your gaze and to pay attention to where you're going. We're going to start in mission, and then we're going to move to action and end in values, all right? If you feel comfortable, I invite you to close your eyes. If not, just finding a place in the room to soften your gaze and hold your attention. Finding your breath. Deepening it as you can. Perhaps as you breathe in and breathe out, you can allow your body to rest a little bit more, trusting the chair to hold you, the ground to hold the chair. As you breathe, I invite you to envision a place where you feel most at ease. It's easier for us to tap into truth where we're in places where we can trust that we are safe. For some of us, that might be the arms of a beloved. Others, the front porch of a house that you love dearly. For some of us, it might be a particular terrain, a beach, the woods, the shower. Wherever you feel most at ease, I invite you just to find yourself there and to not judge it at all. In this space of ease, trusting that you are held, I invite you to ask yourself, what is my mission? The thing that occupies my mind, perhaps keeps me up at night, but sleep is also important. The thing that I think about, the thing that I dream about, perhaps the thing that I don't even know if it's possible, and sometimes realities would have me quiet my own mission for what seems practical. I'm going to invite you to amplify, to turn up the mic of that mission, to see past what might feel practical and pragmatic in this moment, and to believe that the thing you envision and see can actually inbreak into the world that you live in. Even if you don't see it fully come into fruition, give yourself permission to name it. What's that thing? The gift of our missions is that they don't come out of nowhere. Pauli's mission rooted in their stories, rooted in encounters that they had had. What are the stories that have led you to your mission? Allowing yourself to still be held by that space. Some of those stories might be tender, hard to touch. Be kind to yourself. Some of them might be full of friends or partners or community that has held you, called you in to remind you of the things of who you are and not who you've been told to be. What is your mission? Again, not letting that voice naming its impossibilities get louder than that voice that says there's room to walk towards that, to move towards that, to lean and live in towards that. And finally, as you imagine this mission, what would it look like realized? What might a world that your mission has been accomplished or at least improved upon, what would that world look like? What would be the evidence of a mission fulfilled? Who benefits from it? What are its stakes? With one last deep breath, I invite you to take it in as deep as you can and release it. What is your mission? The question in your head, what is my mission? And when you feel all right, I invite you back into the room. Friends, with yourself, I'm going to give you a couple of minutes, somewhere between 3 and 5 minutes, probably around 5 minutes. So take your time to write down what you saw, write down what came up for you. What is your mission? What does it look like realized? What are the stories that got you to that place? And then I'm going to call us back and we're going to do some work in partners. I don't love interrupting people when I've told you to write down, but this is continually coming up for you, so I just want to say it. I just invite you to be bold and courageous and name the mission that you have, not the mission that you think you can have. All right, I'll leave you be now. There's also paper and pens up here if you would like to write. Thank you. All right, go ahead and finish that sentence. Feel free to finish it with a ... You know, it continues to go on. We continue to think and imagine, so you don't have to end with a period if that does not feel right. So I'm going to invite you to find a partner in just a second, and to share your mission and also think through what action steps can you take to realize your mission, right? It's one thing to have a mission, but then it's like, okay, what are the actual action steps that I can take to get there? Again, for Pauli, some of their action steps were persuasion, which looked like advocating and appealing to those in power through legal advocacy, spiritual resistance, the power of the pen, and inviting violence upon their own body through protest and direct action. So what are the action steps that you can take to realize your mission? Now, perhaps you came in with somebody that you know. I'm going to challenge you, if you can, like I said, I will never know. So if you're like, no, I'm about to talk to my best friend, I'm not going to know. This is your choice. But if you can challenge yourself a little bit and maybe meet someone new, I'm going to invite you to find a partner, introduce yourself. I'm always surprised at how long people talk without telling people their names. Introduce yourself. Offer your mission, right? Like, what are you coming up with your mission? Maybe it's not clean in 4 or 5 words yet, but around it, how did you get there? And then think together, what are some action steps that you can take to realize your mission? You're gonna have 10 minutes in these partnerships. So find a partner. If it's a group of 3, that's fine too. Find a partner, and then I'll bring you back in 10 minutes. No, you did. I was like, oh, let me, I'm good. I'm from Baltimore, and we talk. So I'm always like different spaces. I'm like, slow down. Yeah. Beloveds, I'm going to call you back just for a second. I know the conversation's fire too. I can feel it. It's so good. Friends, just for one quick second. It's slowly coming back. Thank you. I know I didn't even want to do it. I really didn't. But I want us to shift a little bit to our last move. You can stay in your same groups. But as you talked about your mission, your actions, I'm going to invite you to spend some time on the values. What are the values or strategies that support you in implementing those action steps? What are the values that will sustain you, as my grandma said, in season and out of season, right? The values that will hold you when you're tired of the actions and when the mission feels impossible. For Pauli, some of those values were being in community and leveraging interdependence, right? That's sustaining. Compassion, hope as a sustaining force. Patience, because we know it doesn't always get done fast, right? And so what are the values from connected to your mission, fueling your actions that are going to hold you and guide you? And so again, send you off into groups, but just wanted us to shift into that as our last move. All right, continue the robust conversations. All right, friends, I'm gonna bring us back. I know, 10 minutes went by fast. I see the disappointment. We're gonna continue in a larger group conversation though, so the conversation is not over. I'm gonna bring us back. We're gonna continue in a larger group conversation. I'm gonna invite Danny up to facilitate that. But just as a reminder, these conversations don't have to end. So hopefully you met somebody, you talked to somebody that you all can continue in conversation. See, it's even hard for us to stop because it's so popping. But just a reminder, your mission, your actions, your values are world bending. Literally bending the world in a particular way. And so ideally, we would bend the world towards justice, towards love, towards wholeness, towards hope, towards respect, towards kindness and compassion. And so know that your mission, your action, your values aren't just, things that live on paper, simple to say, usually harder to live out, right? But that they actually can help us bend a world that could use some bending towards something that looks better than this. And so I hope that you take these things seriously. I certainly enjoy kind of popping my ear in and also reflecting on my own things. And may our missions do something more than live in our notebooks. Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you. I just want to repeat that. May our missions live somewhere more than our notebooks, ashe. Okay. I hope I had a lovely conversation. I hope everyone else did too. And we'd love to invite y'all to share in the groups. I'll walk the mic around. Anything, if you wanted to share what was your mission, action, values, or if you wanted to share a juicy tidbit that someone else shared, or anything that folks are I want the rest of the crew to hear this. We've been thinking on it. You can pop a finger up, raise a hand. Not all at once now.
So one of the things that I really appreciated about our time together, Jenny, is that we both decided to keep our mission to ourselves and honored that. And I think Glissant talks about that sometimes you do want to not be legible. And I think that usually he talks about that in terms of with oppressors, but sometimes not being legible is something that is a sacred act to do with people who are a part of communities that we're in, and to practice saying no thank you. And so what I think happened is that we performed our missions without naming them. And so I started talking about the histories that I get to steward every day, and thinking about my family connections on this All Souls Day. I know the Reverend Pauli Murray would want us to remember today is All Souls Day. And so thinking about ancestral spaces like Raleigh and Durham and how they can sometimes look to be at tension with one another, but how it's really interesting to see the connections. And so I got to experience Jenny listening and having a lot of curiosity and a lot of, I think, satisfaction to have some demystification about the Raleigh-Durham thing. So that was our time together.
Thank you. That's beautiful. And I think that echoed something we were talking about in my group about like practicing not just saying no, and practicing like your autonomy, not just when it's super obvious that this is like your enemy, but also with your loved ones and your family and your friends, and like how do we get comfy with that? Thank you for sharing. Would anybody else like to share from their group?
Hi, I'm Rebecca. One of the things that I realized in our conversation was that the mission that I think about most of the time has to do with the job I need to do as a parent, but I also have a mission for myself that I need to spend more time on and seek more practical steps for, and that is just rage management. Because I don't want to let go of it in the face of things that deserve some rage, but I don't really know what to do with it that doesn't make things worse. So that's a job.
Thank you so much for sharing that. And folks who have been at a Sunday service that I've been at before have maybe heard me talk about sacred rage, and I fully support that, because I think there's plenty to be mad about. And I think oftentimes anger is the emotion of change. And it tells us that something's happening is not right, and we need to do something about it. It says something happened that I or someone else didn't deserve, and something should be done. And we live in a very carceral society that tells us that anger is just going to lead to violence, is just going to lead to you being harmed more. But that's not necessarily true. We have plenty to be mad about, and lots of us hold lots of sacred rage, some of it not even ours. And we have to learn how to alchemize that, so I wish you well on that journey. Would anyone else like to share? And I'll come back to you.
Hi everyone, Hui Ying, and my partner was Raquel, and we talked about, I can read what I wrote. Oh my God, I have so many things on my hand. I can read, thank you. What I wrote, I'm committed to love, liberation, and healing starting from within. I'm committed to queer and trans liberation, building solidarities in Asia and transnationally. I'm committed to creating spaces of embodied healing through art, movement, and writing. And I think what I really appreciated about our conversation, first all of it, and then also one point was kind of how we decenter like our ego in organizing, and thinking about ourselves as like a vessel through which like we channel all of the knowledge like from our ancestors, from the universe, from each other, like into this world. But we're not the creator. We're not the owner of that knowledge, and how sometimes we have to hold contradictions of that, like in our own organizing work, where we're put on pedestals, or we're put in positions of like leadership that where other people also look to us for guidance. But at the same time, how do we not internalize that also like position of power in a way, and to really think of ourselves as vessels through which our embodiment of our vision of liberation like comes through. And then another point we discussed was about language, and how there's like language is magical, and in many ways it teaches us to how to name like what we're experiencing, and is very powerful. And I think in my own politicization journey, like growing up in China and coming to the States initially for school, like it was a way for me to acquire political language that I wasn't allowed to acquire before. But then at the same time, like now I see how in the States now there's a lot of like chase after who's speaking the most correct like language, but then losing sight of what is really at stake here, and what are the non-negotiables, like in terms of what we really want to build, and like what kind of impact we want to have in our community. And so where language becomes now sometimes like more as the end goal instead of the like conduit through which we can channel that world into being. And so so we were having a lot of like really, really heartfelt conversations about like our experiences both here and then like back in Asia, and with other people coming from other different contexts. So I really appreciated having this space. And yeah, thank you all.
Thank you so much. I know we had someone else up here.
Hi, my name is Marilyn, and Andy was my partner. One of the things we talked about is starting with compassion for ourselves, boundaries, because we're in a time where our missions require longevity. So if we don't care for ourselves first, and that we use the analogy of nature and all that nature teaches us, and the root system of nature, and how the importance of being rooted and being in community, because that's how we stay connected and we're supported. And we talked about systemically, like, how do we balance what seems to be systemically happening, not lose hope. How do we stay in alignment? And, just the importance of, how do you dismantle a system that's so big? And, and Andy was talking, we talked about the medical system. We talk about the things that are broken, but then how do we become in our missions tools to help empower the communities that we work in, and how do we do that and not be discouraged, and that these are the spaces to create, because in the word community is commune. I mean, you can say community, but if we are not communing with one another, then there's a separateness there. And so keeping sight of that, and knowing that there are seasons, right? There are times when we have to go in to take care of ourselves, and then there are the times when we have to get out, and life happens while we're busy planning. But how do we stay on that forward journey, so that we can get to the place that really the embodiment is love. So thank you, Andy.
Thank you so much for sharing. Ooh, okay. I'm going to invite, we have some of our little friends that would like to share. So we're going to invite them to share, and then I'll come back around to our crew.
Hello, friends. So we have Aiden and Frankie, and we focused on Pauli Murray's quote that says, "Hope is a song in the weary throat." And so we decided to think about our community, and we learned you can do some of the things that we were doing. So let's just say community. Let's say la comunidad. And then with the help of Jenny here, I'm going to teach you how to say community in sign language. How that looks like connection also. So we were talking about community, and then we listened to outside. Yep, I'll ask you a question. And we listened to what we could hear outside, and we could hear the birds singing, and we said that felt like hope. And what did we ask, Frankie? We said, what do you think hope is? Do you want to tell folks? No? Frankie said, oh, you want to tell them? What is it? It's hoping for something what? Frankie said hope is hoping for something good, wanting something good. And Aiden helped us make a lot of this art, and so we decided also to bring that hope also that Pauli Murray gave to us and put this beautiful art together in this collaborative art piece with our young folks. So this is what they decided to do. Anything you want to say? Say thank you. Okay. Hi. Thank you all. Here, Danny.
Thank you so much. Exactly. Okay, you want to talk about what is hope? And to me, this right here is hope, seeing our young folks, seeing our kids be nurtured, being able to learn these things, being able to share their opinions, do some art, makes me very happy. Okay, I think we had a couple other people in this group that wanted to share. Okay, I'm gonna go there, then here.
Hello, my name is Trin. Something my buddy and I talked about is like the importance of love. I think a lot of I was in the past, I've been in a lot of progressive circles with a lot of people with progressive politics, and they have a lot of things they hate. I hate the system, I hate the president, which is there's room for that, and there's room for rage in that. But I'm like, who do you love? What do you love? In the context of imagining a world where we all are freer. And in my work, at my job, I'm a therapist, and something I talked about is I became a therapist because I love people, and I love healing, and I love helping people heal. And so what you said, Rebecca, reminded me of I think love and rage feed into each other. It's not, we love because we're angry. We love because we want things to be better. So that's something I was thinking about.
Thank you so much. I love that.
Thanks. I'm McCabe. The first words I wrote were home, hearth, healing. And then I got in this little group here and met Arthur, and I'm just looking at his business card, okay? Can you read that? I don't have my glasses right here.
Honoring the built environment.
Yeah. Honoring the built environment. And my partner, Karen, is over this way. And what we've been doing, but I hadn't thought about it this way, is bought an abandoned farm, an abandoned log cabin, bought another farm that had a log cabin on it, but it was built for people who needed food and didn't have any food. And so I love the issue of taking a space and redoing it in a way that meets more of the needs of the community than what it was once. And we started something called Plenty up in Floyd, Virginia, and it's a booming farm hub for people who are poor. And now they're coming and they're telling the folks that kind of went on after us what they need and what they expect and what they want to give. And it's that mutual reciprocation. So I love this space. I didn't say for 25 years I was an Episcopal priest. I don't know this space. How come I got along in life without ever knowing about this space? So part of what I'm going to be doing here, Arthur, is figuring this thing out and enjoying it and the space that it gives all of us to have a voice. What a wonderful thing. Was that articulate or not? Yeah, pretty good? Okay.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. My heart is full. Thank you for all these reflections. Are there any other share outs that folks want to share for now? Also, again, inviting us to say that no, if you're cool. Okay, so lastly, we just had a couple of final reflection questions. And if folks want to answer them, you can, or you can just take these, think on them for you, reflect as you leave. So the first question we had was, what is your song of resistance today? What does that mean to you? What is the song of resistance in your heart today? And then the second reflection question we wanted to leave y'all with is, out of, a lot of what we talked about today, we talked about the mission, the action, the values. Which of these practices can we take with us into our daily lives when we leave here? So I want everyone to think on that for a sec. Maybe close your eyes, maybe just write it down. But what is your song of resistance today? And which of these practices can you take with us into our daily lives from here? Okay. If anyone has a song or reflection they want to share, feel free to raise a little hand. But if not, I'll leave y'all with that and just say thank y'all so much for being here today. If this was your first time at Sunday service, I hope we'll see you again. If you're a returner, I'll hope to see you again too. Thank you so much to the Pauli Murray Center for all that y'all offered us today. Let's give a round of applause. Thank you. Thank you so much to Rainbow Collective and Miss Chelsea for Sunday school. And just a couple of closing announcements for folks. We do have yoga, free yoga is still going on Mondays in this space, beginning at 6:30 each Monday up until we close for winter break. I believe that's like December 12th. We also have our next Sunday service will be December 7th. So that'll be the final Sunday service of this year if you'd like to come back around. And we are currently in our end of year fundraising campaign. So for those who don't know, North Star was one of many arts and community organizations here in Durham and the surrounding area that lost significant funding this year due to federal funding cuts. And so we have been very, very blessed to have folks show up and show out and support us so much since then. And we're also always still welcoming of any additional support. So if you're looking for ways to like donate, you can. We have a QR code over on this little podium thing on this side wall that'll take you to our support page, or you can just go to northstardurham.com/support, and that'll give you ways to like donate and just support some of our work. And that'll also, if you're on northstardurham.com, you can see our upcoming events in our calendar, things like that. And then also wanted to just say another thank you to the Pauli Murray Center. They do have some information also on this podium for information on how to like stay up to date, learn more about events that they're putting on, and there's a couple of stickers and cute little swag things y'all could take. Let's see, Matt, am I missing anything for announcements? Okay, all right, so I think that's gonna close us out. Oh, we have a last, yeah. If there's community announcements that folks wanna share, please.
She won't say this when she introduced herself. I'm Chelsea's wife, but Chelsea's book came out last month, Proclamation Beyond the Pulpit. It is about the work of Nannie Helen Burroughs, Sojourner Truth, and Fannie Lou Hamer. So Proclamation Beyond the Pulpit. So please support her. We're going to try to do a book launch release hopefully next month or in a couple months. But I just had to name that. I love you.
Thank you so much for that share. That is lovely to hear. I hope everyone can go support. Period. I will be going to look. Is there a preferred vendor y'all like people to like? Okay, perfect. Okay. Okay. Instagram, I am Chelsea Brooke. Okay. Look her up. All right. Yes.
Sorry, hiya. Just wanted to share, we have a lot of programming going on at the Pauli Murray Center this month in honor of Pauli Murray's birthday. So if you're interested in any of that, we do have these handouts. I'll call out specifically our Pauli Murray birthday celebration is going to be November 22nd. We're going to have some queer acrobats and community tabling and all kinds of really cool things. There is a really cool photo on our Instagram of Pauli Murray and their partner doing like an acrobatic pose, and they're going to recreate that. So just wanted to lift that up for you all. Thank you.
Thank you. It's lovely. And again, that's on the handouts over there. Okay, any other comments, questions, reflections? Okay, if all hearts, Matt? Is it working?
Sound guys, I make myself louder. 1 second. Well, I just want to call attention to the fact that SNAP benefits have ended for a lot of people. So if you're able to get involved with a food pantry or any kind of local food advocacy groups, now is a really good time. We really enjoy the Durham community fridges, and there are a bunch of locations around here where you can just drop food pretty much any time. So now is a really good time to get plugged in with that.
Yeah, and just going to repeat in case folks couldn't hear. The uplifting of the local food banks, food pantries, the Durham Food Pantry, the ability, if you can, to donate now, get involved, help folks out. because we know that SNAP benefits are a big deal, and so many people are relying on those, so we want to be able to show up for our community as much as possible. Got one more.
Yeah, I was just going to say there's this song that maybe you can play on the way home called Take This Stone by, I can't pronounce her name.
Cecile McLaurin Salvant.
It's Take This Stone.
Yeah, I'm doing it right now.
Perfect. Okay. Yes.
Hi, today from 2 to 6 at the Fruit in Durham, a partner organization, 7 Directions of Service, which is an indigenous climate justice group, is doing their annual Truthsgiving event. And I'll just read it quick. Truthsgiving is a family-friendly event that uplifts the untold historical truths of the U.S. Thanksgiving holiday and amplifies indigenous resistance and visions for the future. So if you guys are interested, it's like in an hour, but it's a really great event that's happening from 2 to 6 today, and led by 7 Directions of Service.
Thank you so much. Okay. Any other announcements, questions, comments, reflections? Okay, if all hearts and minds are clear, we will close it out. Feel free to still get some food. I don't know how much is left, but feel free to get some food and coffee and stuff on your way out. We're gonna play the song that was mentioned for folks, but feel free to mingle a bit, grab some food still. I hope that y'all will take today's service with you and some of these practices and this framework into your lives from here. So thank y'all so much for coming. And we will see y'all next time. Thank you.